Hi, everybody. This is Michelle Gaffney with CentralReach. I have Heather Morton with OB-GOBI, and we are going to get started on our taking the guesswork out of employee onboarding in just a few moments. We're going to let everybody continue to log in here. I see a lot of people still logging in. So as I said, we'll get started in a few minutes. To let everybody know, the whole segment should be about roughly 50 to 55 minutes, so we will make sure we keep you here less than an hour. We will be recording this so you can come back and watch it at any time. But thanks so much for joining us today. All right, everybody, I am going to get started here. Let me just move my screen up. Everybody should be seeing my screen. My Disney World account. Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Michelle Gaffney. We also have Heather with OB-GOBI, Heather Morton with me. Today, we're going to review in two parts. I'm going to be reviewing some onboarding in CentralReach, some custom contact forms, our new employee checklist, and some document management. I will briefly show you a little bit of our human resource platform. Then I'm going to be turning it over to Heather. She's going to be discussing our learning management system and how that relates to employee onboarding and our CentralReach marketplace. So again, we're so excited you've joined us. Thanks so much. Everybody should be looking at my screen right now. I've got this beautiful Disney World organizational account. I'm in my dashboard, and I'm going to come on over into my contacts, and we're going to talk about adding a new employee into the system. So most of you probably already know that to add a new employee, you're just going to come right into your contacts, click Add New, and click on your employee. Now, you could just put that name in and go through a lot of different processes to get that contact into the system, to actually have somebody on this list as an employee. But you might also notice that you have some additional options, and we call these custom forms. Now, custom forms will enter a contact into the system for you, but it's also going to do a few other things. It's going to gather more information and any specific information that you want from that new contact. And we also have an ability to automate a lot of things. So notice here, I've got two custom contact forms. So for some of you that might be using some custom contact forms already, think about being able to have multiple custom contact forms. So I'm going to bring you right now back into where we build these forms, the back end of the system. And if I come into my contacts and I come down to my utilities and tools, I'll click on custom forms, and this is where all of my forms exist. So I've already built two employee forms, and I want to take a look at my new employee BCBA form. So our first page on our new contact form is simply a naming convention. The second window for our new custom form, this is where we can have this form, this magical form, if you will, do a lot of things automatically for you that you would otherwise have to pretty much remember to do. One of the main things in CentralReach, and I'm sure most of the users that are on this call know this very well, people have to be connected in order for anything to happen between them. And there are certain people in your organization that have to be connected to everybody or possibly to separate groups of people. So for this particular custom contact form, my BCBA contact form, I can automatically set this form so that when a new BCBAs entered using this form, they can automatically connect to my administrators, my billing, and they're also going to automatically connect to RBTs. I can enter anybody I would like to automatically be connected to this particular group that would be using this form. So some of the things that you can think of in creating these forms is, one, how many different forms would you need? Because possibly one group of people might need to be connected to different groups of people than others. For example, your RBTs might need to be connected to different people or differently than your BCBAs, than your billers, etc. Another way that you might want to build out your forms is by specific location. If you have multiple locations, it's very likely that one location, one employee set location is going to be connected to your organization differently than another organization. So here's where you can do a combination of connecting by label to that specific group or by specific contact. The other thing the contact form can automate for you is contact labels. So for example, this is a BCBA new employee form. We can make sure that automatically they are given that BCBA label. It's going to really help you when you go into contacts, and you're not going to have to remember to add all of those specific labels. So the more you can automate on this form, the better. Heather's going to jump back into our learning trees and how you can actually set up some specific learning management systems for those new employees, and you'll be able to add them right here. The other thing that a new contact form can do is notify specific people in your organization that this new contact was added. So if there are specific people that need to know about new BCBAs or new RBTs, this is where we could tell them. Possibly in different locations, you might need different people to know. Again, you can create multiple custom forms. It doesn't just have to be one, and have them each unique to that group. We can assign tasks to a new contact automatically. We can also request certain files to be uploaded automatically. So there might be certain things that a BCBA needs to have that we can have automated. For our custom contact forms as well, we can choose what we would like on our form, on our custom form. This middle column is going to be exactly what is going to be on your form. This left-hand column is going to be your options for that form. To add anything to the form, it's a really easy drag and drop method. Now you're going to notice that you have certain entities over here that have these dots as opposed to the CR person. The CR person is meaning that that is going to speak to your employee profile. The dots are going to be metadata. If you need additional metadata that you would like to add into your form, you can do that by coming right back into your utilities, so all the way back to your contacts utilities, and adding any metadata fields. To add a new metadata field, simply click Add New, add the new field, add the type of contact, which of course in this case would be an employee, and the type of answer you'd want to generate. Back on your custom forms, coming on over into the fields, those new metadata fields would now be available to add onto your form. The other thing that these custom contact forms can do to automate the onboarding process, probably one of my favorite things, is you can have an email automatically generated when you use this form to your new employee. You can check this box right here, and you can have that login information sent. So now you're not needing to create usernames and passwords or send out any kind of email with that information. It will be automated. You can create any kind of email, welcome email to your organization that you would like. And again, it would include that login information. You can also, of course, give some specific areas that you would want to include in training. So possibly you want some different directions included in this email. Again, though, it would include login information. So those are just a rough overview of our custom forms. Custom forms are standard in our CentralReach platform. So you can build as many as you would like. They are, again, a standard part of CentralReach and certainly one that you're going to want to use because it's going to take a lot of those different things we need to remember that we will not have to remember. We can now automate. So before I go on to our checklist, I just want to see, does anybody have any questions right now? I'm looking at my chat on your custom contact forms. Okay. I'm going to jump right on over into a employee face sheet, and we're going to talk a little bit about when we are onboarding somebody and we do now have their contact in the system. We are going to have a special checklist over on the right-hand side that's going to help us onboard. Now, I will give you a tip that just because we have 100% done doesn't mean you might not want to follow up and ensure some of these things are done completely. The reason I say that is because the custom contact form will check off some of these for you, but it doesn't mean that it has been done completely. For example, we might have certain connections that are done via that custom contact form. That doesn't mean we've made all connections. So let the checklist help you in terms of reminding you on what we need to accomplish. Also, though, keep in mind that even if there is a checklist, let's still have that be a reminder to us that it might need to be completed in full. So we have a few different checklists. We have a human resource checklist, we have a scheduling checklist, and a billing checklist. When we have all of these different things complete, we will be ready for that employee to be scheduled and start their employment in the system. So the first thing that should be checked off already from your custom contact is your basic contact information. If you click on any of these things, it's going to take you right back into an area that might still need some additional information. So you can jump right back into your basic information and address. Both of these two things you would want to make sure are checked off. Employee account access. Employee account access is where you are able to set up an employee name and password for your new employee. Your permissions. Permissions is going to be checked off because initially when you set a new employee in CentralReach, they are going to come over with a default permission setting. So let this serve as a reminder that if you are, although it's going to be checked, if you are going to need to give this new employee any additional permissions than your default, and pretty much I would say the default is normally your behavior technicians, but if let's say this is a BCBA or an administrator, you're probably going to need to go into our set permissions and give them further permissions. Your employee connections, you're going to want to make sure that Daisy Duck in this example is connected to any and all other employees that she needs to be connected to. This can take you right to that area to create your connections. Hopefully, most of those employee connections were made on your custom contact form. Your pay type can be set up right from this specific checklist, setting pay types. This is telling the system how exactly your new employee is getting paid. Do they get paid by salary, hourly? Do you want to pull drive time, bonus, etc.? This is only going to be present or used if you are utilizing our payroll module. If you're not using our payroll module, you're not going to see any of this. And I'm just going to pause 1 second because I do see a few questions coming in. Okay, if checklists have been turned off, how we can turn them back on. You should, regardless, have that ability to come on over to your percentage mark and be able to click on the percentage mark to get that checklist. I believe there is a place that you can turn on and off those check boxes. I will find out for you and make sure I get back to you on that before the end of the call, because there are a place. Auto-generated email, create a login, username, and password. Nope, that's a great question. The auto-generated email will create that username and password for you. Now, when you come in to any profile, you're never going to be able to get any kind of password that might have been set up. It will always create a new password. Okay, so I hear somebody, thank you, somebody let me know that in the main administrator account settings, so if I came back to our main dashboard here and I came into our account settings, this is where we can make sure that we have those, not notifications, but this is where we would be able to make sure we have those check boxes returning onto our notification list. Okay, so let's come on back to Daisy Duck. Okay, so again, the pay types, that would be referring to how that employee gets paid, and we would want to make sure that's put in. Our principals for any new employee is simply the manager for that employee. You can assign more than one, and what this is going to give you function-wise is the ability to see that on your contact list if you would like to. It will also later talk to possible authorizations. It will give you a possibility of that person being a manager. Other than that, I will recommend always labels for most things, like principals. So your scheduling checklist. This can be very beneficial. You can have either yourself do part of the checklist as the administrator, or you can even give this permission to your employee and let them set it up. As far as schedule connections, this is going to be making sure that the right people are able to view and manage Daisy Duck's calendar and vice versa. If Daisy Duck needs to view and manage anybody else's calendar, this is where it's going to get set up. Again, this can be part of your custom contact form, but this would bring you right into the area where you would be able to say, Daisy Duck should view and manage all of these calendars, or maybe Benji the dog needs to be able to view and manage Daisy Duck's calendar. Keep in mind that if those calendar permissions are not set up or not automatically set up on the custom contact form, Daisy Duck will not automatically show for any scheduler. So we would, as much as possible, want to automate that on the custom contact form. Availability, this is where we're actually able to set up when Daisy Duck is available, what days does she work? We can use a date range. We can use specific days of the week, put in time frames. We can have as many availabilities as we would like, as long as they do not overlap. If they overlap, they're not going to allow them. But it's going to give the administrators, number one, a great visual on the calendar. It's also going to let them use another terrific tool, which is a Find a Provider tool. If your employees do not have availability set up, you're not going to be able to use that tool. So please keep that in mind. Availability is terrific, and you can add it right from here. Appointment types. If you have created specific appointment types, which are simply naming conventions for your appointments, and you want to make sure that Daisy Duck has them as part of her drop-down menu of appointment types, we would want to sync appointment types, possibly add, let's say it was this organization, to Daisy. It looks very similar to our calendar syncing. This would be a naming syncing. So should she have those same abilities, has nothing to do with billing, simply a naming convention. But you can have that automated right from here. So our last part of our checklist here is our billing. Of course, a very important part of our checklist. Number one is pay codes. This is where we want to enter, if we have payroll set up, exactly what Daisy does when she works here, and then also how much she gets paid when she does it. So only somebody that has that payroll ability would be able to enter that information in, and that will speak right to payroll. The next thing on our checklist that's going to be imperative for all of your employees to properly function in CentralReach is to make sure that they are assigned the correct service codes and billing codes. If they are not connected to the correct billing codes, when we go to schedule, authorizations are not going to show up for them. And it will drive you crazy, because you will see that you have authorizations on file for your client, but Daisy Duck is not able to access them. That is simply because she does not have service codes yet. So if you click on Set Service Codes, and this is probably just worth doing a quick walkthrough, hopefully we have, in fact, labeled our service codes. We can go find our exact label that we need to assign Daisy Duck to. We might have them even better labeled. So if Daisy Duck is an RBT, we'd have our billing codes labeled as an RBT. We'd choose those labels or all of those codes. We could come over to Actions, and we can update rates for selected and add our employee's name right here. If we have a rate that she's getting paid and we're entering that, we can add that as well and update the rates. That is going to assign her to the codes. Finally, the last thing that you want to do on your checklist is make sure your claim settings are set up for Daisy Duck. Your billers will thank you. If Daisy is ever going to appear on a claim, we need to make sure that those claim settings are set. If you click Manage Claim Settings, you're going to say, my goodness, I just filled all of this out. All you need to do is sync over from the basics, and all of that information will pull. And we would hit Save, and we've got our claim settings set up. Again, that's what will speak to the claims later. Okay, so a question that just came in. We're learning about how to set this up for current employees. I'm thinking if I decide all current employees need to have access to something that I can automate in the form, is there a way to do that? There is not a way to change this checklist at all, but you can certainly go back and look and use the form for any existing employees. Although they might have been onboarded a year ago, you can certainly go back, and it just reminds you of maybe some different things that you want to make sure are completely set up. Now, as I said in the beginning, there might be things that are checked off, but you might still want to revisit things like connections, updating an address, or schedule connections. So you can always use this checklist for more than just onboarding. Okay, so I only have a couple of minutes left on my time. So I saved the best for last. It's our document management. Now, this is a premium feature. Some of you might already have it. If you do not have it yet, and after I go through any of this, you're interested in finding out some more information or prices on it, please contact sales@centralreach.com. You can even put a message into the webinar and we can follow up and give you some more information. So our document management system is a way for you to organize, report, and track any documents. It's extremely helpful in onboarding employees and clients for that matter. When you think about document management, first think about building different templates. And what templates are a way to organize, kind of, if you will, build a folder for specific documents where you're going to tell the system exactly what you want to go into the folder. So for example, I've named this template BCBA Employee Documentation. I'm able to assign this to a contact label so that this contact label are going to be able to see right on their face sheet anything that they have missing, any documents that they are required that they do not have yet or that is expiring. It's going to show right on their home page. Notice I would label this. So this is my BCBA employee documentation. I'm only going to assign this to my BCBAs. Now, this is just a small sample of a folder, but a folder for BCBA employee might include these specific documents that I am building as a template. I'm telling the system whether or not this is a required document or an optional document. Obviously, I can build additional folders and additional types of things that are going to go into the folders. So what will this template allow? Well, now that we've built it, when we upload any documents, and there's tons of ways and tons of places to upload documents in CentralReach, but just think if you come in and you upload a file, you can upload it to a specific employee. And I can select files to be uploaded. And once I've uploaded, I am going to classify the document. So I would choose my template. Let's say it's our BCBA employee documentation. I would be able to come down and say exactly what this is. My driver's license. I could put a file number on it if I would like, and I can put my effective dates if I would also like. And of course, I'm just doing an example here. And I can save that document detail. So it's classifying in CentralReach because of how I want it classified. But now, even better than that, I'm going to be able to go in and report on it. So if I come back on over to my document file, and I go into my document management report, this is where I'm going to be able to pull whichever specific template that I wanted to look at, pull a contact type, and be able to see exactly who has what. So if you notice, I'm able to report on this. I can come over. I can see exactly the different files that are in. I can see who's missing them. Now, I might want to search this even farther and look at just my BCBAs right now, and it looks like my BCBAs are missing quite a few documents. Also looks like this document is expiring. So if I have a lot of different employees, I might want to come on over and use my filter. and I have some document details where I'm able to pull expiration dates, so things that are expiring or have expired. In this case, we would have Snow White, or we can run a range of effective dates. As I said, this is a terrific way to report, keep track of all kinds of documents. And also, if you remember, I said you can assign them to the client, or excuse me, to the employees themselves. So if we come over and let's pull up Snow White, since we know Snow White is a BCBA. And we would have our document management widget right up on the screen. It might not be right up on top, but if you notice this widget, when Snow White logs in, she is going to see exactly what documents are due, and she'll be able to upload them herself. So it can really save a tremendous amount of time, let the administrators on the back end be able to report and keep track of anything, but also puts a lot of the ownership back to the employees. So I have gone over my time a little bit. Let me just take a few questions. If I can't answer them all, we will make sure that they get emailed back. Yes, you can use document management for clients. We just don't have that widget for clients, but yes, absolutely, you can create client document management. Okay. I am going to, for purpose of time here, I'm going to answer all of the questions specifically on either an email. I will make sure that I'm getting back to everybody. I have everybody's name. And I am going to pass this over to Heather so she can continue on with our learning management system. And Heather, bear with me. Let me make sure that I give you the screen. Sorry about this, everybody. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much, Michelle. That information was so helpful and ties in directly to what we're going to touch on today about courses that we can purchase in the marketplace, and then courses that you can build on your own to assign to your staff and use those custom contact forms to make it really easy, as well as using that document manager to track that and when they need to renew and things like that. So if you guys can see my screen now, I am in the marketplace. So I can get to the marketplace in a couple of ways. One, I can go to learn.centralreach.com, and that will take me there, as well as doing it from Learn within your CentralReach account. I can click over here. Oh, it logs me out, so we won't do that. But you can do it from Learn, go to the marketplace, and I'll show you guys that as well. So when I am in the marketplace, I'm just, for today's purposes, just looking at staff trainings, but we do have a multitude of things that are available to you guys in the marketplace, including CEUs, curriculum, things like that that might be valuable for your practice. But for today's purpose, we are looking at staff training. So more specifically, we are looking at all the trainings that are available that might be of interest to you, that you want your new hires to take, such as bloodborne pathogens. HIPAA is a really big one. We have our RBT courses in here as well. So those are all trainings that are available to you guys that you can purchase. Once you purchase them, we're going to use HIPAA as our example today. Once I purchase them, I just click add here. I'm going to go to my cart. When I'm purchasing this, it is a single user. So when I purchase one single HIPAA course, it will go into my account and it will allow me to assign it to one person. So if you're interested in purchasing multiple HIPAA courses or things like that, then you definitely will want to reach out to sales@centralreach.com so that we can help get that taken care of for you. I'm going to go back over here and log in. It was supposed to keep me logged in, but it did not. So bear with me for a second here. Awesome. So we'll say that I purchased that HIPAA course, and here I am. I go to learn. I go to my library and purchase items, where anything's going to show that I have recently purchased here. I can go ahead and I'm going to click on that HIPAA course, and it is ready for me to assign it to someone. So I can go in here. I will assign it to Wonder Woman. And then this will now show up under her Learn, under her courses and trainings. This courses and trainings grid also is a really nice feature for us, and allows us to view the progress of an employee on their courses. So this is very valuable as an organization to be able to see, how are your employees doing? What sections are they doing well on? Are there quizzes that they're failing and they're really struggling with, or are they doing really well in their courses? You can really see all of that information by going to that courses and trainings grid and looking at this report. It does take a few minutes for this page to load because it has so much information on it. So bear with me while this loads so I can show you that reporting feature. Okay, now it showed up for me. So I can see here that my HIPAA course, it was purchased on 3/22 and it was assigned to Wonder Woman on 3/22. She has not had an opportunity to do anything in her course yet, so her percentage of completion is still at 0. I do want to show you, we have this great report here where we can view the details of a course. So we're going to go to our registered behavior technician course, because that's going to be able to allow me to show you a little bit more information of what that report looks like. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to view this individual's course and kind of get a better idea of how they're doing in that course. Now, this reporting feature is going to be available whether you purchase it in the marketplace or whether you create your own courses, and I'll show you a little bit about how those settings work. But this is something you guys will be able to view regardless of if it was a course you purchased or one that you created. So in here, I'm going to get check marks that show me that things have been completed. You'll also see that I have timestamps here. This particular course is set up for an individual to initial before they're allowed to proceed for each branch. So it does timestamp for me exactly when they worked on it. So that's valuable information as well. As your employees are going through courses, if they said, oh, well, I worked on this on these dates, and then you can go in and clearly see that they did work on those courses on those dates, in fact. We scroll down, I can see, oh, we had a little situation on our first module quiz, that this individual failed their first quiz. Maybe I want to see more information about that. I can view the details and get more information on what they got correct, what they got incorrect. This is the same view that they're going to be able to see, so they will see what they got correct and incorrect as well. But you can set it up so that you're able to view that, and you can also set it up for any of your supervisors to view that and track that progress as well. So that shows you a little bit about how you can track the progress and really stay up to date on how things are going in your learners' courses. I'm going to go back over to our learn and purchase items, and this is where I would create any courses that I wanted to customize for my staff. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and I've created a new hire training course. Within my new hire training course, I have just a really generic welcome page. I have a video. Perhaps I want to add a video that's like an introduction to everyone in the team and letting them know who everyone is. I can add my policies and procedures. I can add forms that I may want them to download and turn in, like a time off request form. I could put in here and say, please turn into human resources, something like that. So we can add all of these branches by just going to our add branch, go to our resources, and I can add these different branches that I would like. Now, we do have a particular course on LMS that is available in the marketplace for you to really go through the steps of building a course. So I do recommend that you guys take a look at that course and spend some time with it if it's something you're interested in doing. I can also pull from the library, and this is one of my favorite features of the LMS in CentralReach, is that I don't have to start any courses from scratch. So when I'm working on building a course, and let's say I'm doing a CEU course, I can click on my CEU template and say, I want this one, I want this page. I'm going to do a certificate and the presenter's CV. And those are the pages that I need in this particular course. And I can go ahead and add those. And although those are very unrelated to the course I have here, but just to give you guys a little sample of that, I'm going to refresh my page. And then those are now available for me here. So I can go ahead and say, cool, let me just update this. Let me update this file. I can edit it here and say, okay, now I have my course outline. I'll just choose the file that I need, whatever it may be. And you can go ahead and customize it. And it really allows you to build these courses very quickly by using that library templates here. Okay. So as Michelle was talking about earlier with our custom contact forms, when I set up a course under settings here, we have the ability to set something as a single use or as a multi-use. When I have it set as a single use, those are going to be things that, just like I was referring to with the HIPAA course, you can only assign that one time. And so when you're doing the custom contact form, you will need your courses to be set up as multi-use. So if you purchased a HIPAA course, for example, from the marketplace, you wouldn't be able to put that on your custom contact form. However, if you built your own new hire training course, for example, you could set that as multi-use. And then you would have the ability to go ahead and add that to your custom contact form. So I will show you what that looks like here. And just as Michelle mentioned here, under learning trees is where I would add these courses. So what I do is I have my new employee training, how to use CentralReach, my new hire training, new staff competency checklist. Those are all the courses that are automatically going to get assigned to my new hires that I add to the system using this contact form. And just as Michelle mentioned as well, is this email is very helpful. So with this email, I can let them know, please complete these new hire trainings that have been assigned to your account. These need to be completed within the first 15 days of your hire date. So it alerts them to let them know, here's your login information. You have courses that are assigned to you. Please go into your account, get those courses done. And then you're well on your way without having to do that each time, sending that same email over and over. The system will automate that for you if you're using that correct form. So that's one of the big benefits. The other benefit is when you're creating those courses, for example, my HIPAA course will have a certificate attached to it. So I can set up my document manager to say, HIPAA is required for all of my staff. And because HIPAA is required for all of my staff, I'm going to have them upload that file with their certificate into the platform. They can generate it here at the bottom. Once they've completed the course, they can put that into the document manager and say, I completed on this date. It's good for a year. So then it will also alert you when they need to do a renewal on their HIPAA, things like that. Same thing. The RBTs that get their 40-hour certificate, you could add that into the document manager. And then once they're credentialed as an RBT, you could add that credential into the document manager. So the document manager is really helpful to pull everything together and be able to show, these are all of our staff who have this and who have in fact completed this in a really simple way, especially for auditing purposes and things like that. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on is something that is available in the CentralReach organization accounts, and that is our course group training. So we do have a subscription for courses and staff trainings for our technician course group, which does include the RBT, the HIPAA, the bloodborne pathogens, and a variety of other short trainings that have been created specifically for RBTs. So those are available. They start at 5 seats and you're able to add seats each month. It's a monthly subscription, so I can also cancel my subscription at any time. I can also edit my subscription and say, hey, I want to add more seats. And the system will update that for you. As soon as I add an employee name in here, I will be able to add this name, and then those courses will automatically show up under the learners library and purchase items. as soon as they've started those courses, they will then show up on your course report under the courses and trainings. So this is a really nice way to get those trainings done without having to buy each one individually from the marketplace, which is recommended for organizations that are using CentralReach. So for example, if you are purchasing RBT, it's recommended that you reach out to us to get your account set up to do RBT rather than purchasing it from the marketplace. From the marketplace, the RBT course is actually the only course that automatically assigns to the purchaser's account. So I was showing you from HIPAA, I can go into my account and I can assign it to someone else. That doesn't, in fact, work the same way for RBT. So this is one of our options of getting RBT and all these other trainings for your staff at one time for a much lower pricing model. So if you're interested in that, again, you can reach out to sales@centralreach.com and we'd be happy to follow up with you. You can also put in the comments that in the questions that you're interested in, and I would be happy to follow up with you on that as well. On the left-hand side here, you see that we have our BCBA course group, and that's an unlimited CEU subscription. So you get access to all the OB-GOB learning CEUs in that group, which is really great because it includes all your supervision, your ethics, and things like that as well. So yeah, I just wanted to show those to you guys real quick, just to let you know that those are there and available to you. There's a lot of options as far as if you are more interested in purchasing your own trainings that you can then go ahead and assign to staff, or if you're interested in creating your own, we do have the full LMS in order for you guys to do that. I know each organization has their own preferences about what they like to do. So we do have those different options available to you. I think that's all I have. I'm going to jump over and see if we had any questions related specifically to purchasing and assigning courses. Here, give me one moment. It looks like all of these questions Can you discuss the contact form integration with learning trees? Michelle, did you touch on this or answer this one?
Can you just let me know again which one it is?
Yes, it's the last question here. Can you discuss the contact form integration with learning trees?
Okay. I cannot really talk to the clinical side of things, but I know once you do have learning trees built into the system, you are going to be able to, so that could be a learning management piece that you can automatically assign that right into the contact form.
Right. So just where I showed you guys on that form where it says learning trees, any of those learning trees that you've created as those multi-use templates, you can put those on there so that your staff automatically gets access to those. Whether they be a training or a clinical type of learning tree that you've created, you can put those there so your staff has access to utilize those. Great. I don't see any other questions coming in. Awesome. Well, that's all I had for today. Again, please feel to reach out to us if you guys have any other questions or would like to get started with any of the features that we discussed today, because we would be happy to get you guys going with that.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. We hope to do more webinars in the future and share all the exciting features that are part of CentralReach with all of you guys.
Absolutely. We have a couple questions that came in here. What about paid ones? So for paid courses, you can only assign those with the contact form if they're multi-use. So most of the courses that are in there are going to be single use. So you would want to reach out to us to see about getting those set up as a multi-use for a different fee or things like that, so that you could use those with your contact forms, because they do have to be multi-use in order to do that. And then I think that people are asking Michelle when they would be able to get access to the recording. Are you aware when that would be?
I am not aware, but I would assume it's going to be relatively soon. We convert it, and I believe our marketing will make sure it's on our help as quickly as possible. And for those of you that don't know, you would just go to your top right hand of your screen, click on your name, and then down in the Get Help section, there is a place for webinars, and it will be stored there as employee onboarding. So I would say certainly within the next day, it will be available.
Wonderful. Awesome. And then we had a question that came in on how much does it cost to add the document manager feature?
Yes, and thanks for asking. I do not have any of that information. Sales at CentralReach.com. That's who you'd want to reach out to, and somebody will get right back to you.
Fantastic.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I hope everybody has a terrific Thursday, Friday, and weekend.
Thanks so much, Michelle, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Heather.
You got it.
We'll do it again soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.